What's going on, everyone? It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. For those who are new here, welcome to my channel where I talk about government contracting, business scaling, and some veteran stuff mixed in. So this is a video that's kind of long overdue. I have posted about this on my social media, but I never really got into how I got into this. And so I'm going to be talking about how I won multiple laundry contracts without having a laundromat. So let's get into it. So yeah, the first time I got into laundry, it really was by accident because I had a janitorial contract with a large university in my local area, and we were doing their turn clean services, which is basically when the school year ends for college and then the new school year begins, we clean in between that time. It's usually like 2 months that we have to clean, or depending on the building, sometimes it would be a couple of weeks, but nonetheless, it was kind of during like the COVID time frame, and the university facilities person was like, hey, do you all do laundry? And I'm like, no, we don't do laundry. Because if you think about the cleaning, right, it's empty dorm rooms, it's just a carpet, bed, desk, and dresser, and that's it. So there's no linen involved in any of these rooms that we were cleaning. And so I never even thought about laundry. I'm pretty much brand new. This is my second or third contract that I won. Still trying to figure stuff out, and plus it's COVID, so we had a lot of new things to figure out. And the agency was asking, well, hey, we have some linens that need to be washed because these students that were left over or couldn't go home or were put into what they call their motel. It's a university motel, which I didn't even know they had. So it was like learning multiple things at the same time, where they had a motel. Students that contracted COVID, they went over to the hotel. They had to quarantine for a couple of weeks or a couple of days, whatever it was. And then they needed that linen that they provided them to be cleaned. And so, I fought it for a little while, saying, no, we don't do laundry. I don't even know how to price that. And then they basically told us, you're going to do laundry. Just give us the price. And so, boom, we did it. And usually I don't tell people to say no if it's not too far out of your wheelhouse. It's just at that time, because it was during COVID, we had a lot of things to balance and a lot of things to learn, and we were just trying to stay alive. So, we didn't really want to do it because we didn't understand. Now, the great thing about this particular contract, or really it was just an addition to the contract that we had, is that they had the laundry services right there by the motel. So it was literally right across the parking lot where we could bring those linens and wash them, and then we just gave them an invoice. So that was a very, very cut and dry. And people wouldn't even necessarily associate that with being a contract, but it is. It was a separate service, not in our contract, not in our purchase order. It was a totally separate service that we were basically bullied or we were voluntold to perform for this university. So that's how I got my first laundry contract. And it sounds like a little unorthodox because it was, but it was still a contract where we had to do a lot of linen for a few months. Even after the students came back to campus, we still were continuing that service for a little while, for a few months. So that was the first one. So the second contract that we actually, because we had done that, we started bidding, expanding our reach beyond janitorial, beyond flooring, beyond drywall with my company, Foresight Industries. And so we saw one for Department of the Navy. And so we bid on that contract. We won that contract. And what's interesting about that particular contract is we were so fortunate that we had a good contracting officer, because he was like, hey, you need to change your NAICS code to the primary one being laundry. Now that was that usually doesn't happen, but we got lucky on that one because we're obviously a very low bidder. So he really, really wanted to award us this contract, and he kind of worked through some of the things that we needed to update and change on our proposal. So, and then making sure that we understood what the pricing was. And I knew my pricing was a little bit on the lower side, but we had already contacted a laundromat, and this was far. It was in another state, not that far, but it was not driving distance, but driving distance about 7 hours away, driving distance. But we already had a contractor that we were going to use. But what ended up happening with that is that the contractor flaked out on us, and then I ended up doing the laundry myself in my local area and then bringing it back down. Obviously, that didn't last for too long. So we ended up canceling that contract, and I talk about it with my attorney on my channel, where I called him like, oh my gosh, we ended up getting terminated for convenience, but he was like, oh, that's fine. That's a get out of jail free card. And so we were able to, apply for, I forgot the name of it right now, but basically it's where you telling the agency, hey, I did have to buy, a lot of laundry detergent. I did have to use, my gas to drive down to do this laundry, or whatever the case may be. And we were able to get that. It's not called an equitable adjustment, but it's something like that. But nonetheless, we ended up canceling that contract, but we still were able to win. So a win is a win, and I don't care what anybody says, a win is a win, right? So that was one of our federal contracts. So boom. Then we had a local contract with it was actually out of state as well, where it was as the local, like the equivalent to the CSI, but I won't say the name of the agency, but that was a local contract. We were their very first time that they were going to be doing laundry. So it was more like the dry cleaning laundry, but it was still considered laundry because it wasn't linens, it was actually clothes. And so these agents were, they had an option to submit their clothing if they wanted clean, or they could choose not to. Now, I will say, when it comes to laundry, I would absolutely make sure that people understand what the volume is going to be, because it may not even be worth your time if you're only, let's say, washing 2 sheets and 2 pillowcases for the whole month, but you're paying an employee in order to, you're paying them either a salary or paying them to actually service this contract for you, or even if you're doing it yourself, it may not be worth the juice and the squeeze to pick up laundry, even driving over to pick up one sock, one pair of socks, one pair of pants, and a jacket, whereas you're assuming that the volume is going to be something around multiple pounds, or actually several uniforms. Now, we anticipated for that particular contract that it was going to be around I think it was 100 uniforms, and unfortunately, and I'm not saying that all laundry contracts are like this, but I just like to give you the real. I want you to understand what you're running into, just in case these situations do not end up working out for you, and you don't have a laundromat and you're relying on other subcontractors. So I did actually have a sub for that found the workers. So that was a little unorthodox. It wasn't actually a laundromat, but it was more like the workers were taking the uniforms to a laundromat in these different locations. It was multiple locations. I can't remember what they were off the top of my head right now, but basically, you want to ensure that you know the volume of how much you're going to be washing, and they need to kind of guarantee the volume for you as well, because like I said, you don't want to be like an on-call if you're not a laundromat. If you have to hire someone or go out of your way to wash the clothes or wash the linens, you want to ensure that it's worth the money for you. So really, you would have to ask them to do a guarantee, or guarantee pay, which most of the time they're not going to do a guarantee pay. So you have to ask them for like maybe a guaranteed volume, or they can give you a previous volume amount, so you can decide if you want to go after that opportunity at all. Now, with this this CSI equivalent agency, it was their first time actually doing this. So I asked a lot of questions and they didn't even really know the answers. So we were able to get out of that contract too, because they didn't really have it down, and we did it for a little while, but then I'm like, this is not going to really work. I don't have the desire to, just get a couple of items to launder each week. It wasn't worth it. And then even the process that agency actually had was a little janky. Everyone didn't know how, what time the stuff was supposed to be picked up. Now, those of us who have been in the military and you ever had to turn in your linen or even turn in your clothes to get laundered, you have to have it at this time. Someone comes to pick up the bag, and then off they go, and then you get your stuff back, hopefully clean, because that's a whole other thing. But nonetheless, it really didn't pan out, but it was a great experience on how to, for me to hire a sub, to find the workers. Like, I didn't even really know workers did laundering jobs. So I guess you can do a job for anything. It was a great learning experience nonetheless, but didn't have a laundromat, did 3 laundry contracts. I was learning, so they didn't really pan out. I still would go after laundry contracts if I see them, but they just have to make sense. And at this point, I can kind of read and tell which ones wouldn't make sense. So if it looks like it's going to be low volume and I know I don't have a laundromat, then it's probably not worth it. So I just want to give this video is long overdue. I've talked about it multiple times, but I never got a chance to really do a video explaining. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Of course, my GovCon Now course teaches you about federal contracting, local contracting, and corporate contracting. I also have a section in there for my veterans, and you have forever access to the course, and also you have access to me and access to my past performance, which a lot of people like. I'm in facility management with my company, Foresight Industries, and we service the entire East Coast, and we're expanding on to the West Coast, so cheers to us. And we just celebrated our 8-year anniversary, so kudos to Foresight and my team. So we also have our circle community where we share ideas and tips and help, and that is 100% free to join. We have so many people in there now. I lost count. We're well over 1,000, maybe over 1,200 at this point. So please make sure that you sign up for that as well. The link is also in the description. Please share this video with anyone that you think might benefit from it. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and like this video, because it really helps the algorithm when you like, comment, subscribe. and share, of course. So if you got any questions, again, please leave them in the comments. I usually answer almost all the questions, especially if it's related to this video. Now, if it's like, how do you get started in a government contract? And I have plenty of videos that describe that, but I'm happy to still add the link if I get to it in time. But anyway, thank you all for your time and attention today, because I am trying to deliver the most value I possibly can to you all. So until next time, it's your favorite veteran.